Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to Rick Rewind That Radio. Rewind That Radio. You were listening to 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 Rewind That Radio.
Hey, everybody's here. It's another, I think as tradition goes, every time we have a show, we come up with a new name. And I think this week's going to be just another Tuesday night podcast. So that's it. So brand it. Let's call the marketing guys, get some stuff going here.
It's Wednesday, get them on there, bro.
What is that?
Today's Wednesday.
Oh, see, that's like good name for a podcast, and it's the irony.
Today is Wednesday. It's all right, brother.
All day.
Oh, man. See, this is how like busy this like holiday season has been. This Thanksgiving and end of year kind of stuff going on here. But let's kind of go around. We got Big John Stud. We got Terrell Michael Knight. We got Nikki Six. So what'd you guys do for Thanksgiving? How'd it go? What'd you do? Did you cook anything that didn't make you sick? I ditch out that poison,
Well, I didn't do anything but go see my daughter and see my grandparents. And
well, that's good. That's
and it's like the first year. Well, this is about the first full year without my mother. She had passed a year ago. That and being around my family, man, we had a good time. I didn't eat a lot of food because I'm trying to lose all this weight. I'm getting fat, so I'm trying to lose this weight. So I don't think I ate one. I think I ate a turkey, some pieces of turkey.
You ate a whole turkey or
pieces of turkey?
He's like, I ate a turkey.
Pieces of turkey. I think some candy yams and a little bit of macaroni and cheese because that macaroni and cheese be on point. And I can't eat a whole bunch of it, man. This year, this is the first year I didn't even take no leftovers home because I knew I was gonna eat that. I knew my fat ass was gonna be eating everything, so that's why I decided to take none home.
No self-control, huh?
Shoot, I do got self-control, but not over my family's food though.
Fine. That's true. You gotta like freeze some of it and send it down to me.
Man, somebody probably steal it and eat it.
You think so? You think the FedEx guy is he's gonna be like, that smells like mac and cheese from Virginia. Get up on that. Big John Stud, what'd you do? What happened with you? What'd you do?
Up here in New York, it's a little crazy right now. People are all, up in arms about the governor saying you can only have 10 people in your residence, for people are kind of getting COVID. There's new cases. It's the highest it's been in New York since then. So I ended up just going to my brother's, and then I was just like a little small gathering. Terrell kind of sold me on that mac and cheese idea, though. That sounded good. Had some turkey. I'm not really a big fan of turkey. It's kind of like almost like chicken. It's like a pretty dry thing. If it's over, it doesn't really appeal to me. Like I'd rather have a steak on Thanksgiving, but traditionally we got to have turkey. But go with that. Little sweet potatoes. Again, that mac and cheese sounded good.
All right, so you gotta listen. Just the thought of mac and cheese from not one of our families is good. So I need to know what this mac and cheese is all about. It's like what's like. You don't have to tell us the secret ingredient, but is it made like differently? Is it like 5 cheese? Is it like,
bro? Okay, so it was It's two different types of macaroni and cheese that my family cooked.
Wait, what?
Right, so it's 2 different types. So the first type is just like straight, like how you got your orange cheddar.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
So that one is great, but your boy had added a little bit of flavor to it one year. So I had cooked macaroni and cheese one year, and I used New York extra sharp white cheddar.
I'd say the
Bro.
white, right? Yeah.
Man, bro, that cheese, man. And then you add a little, man. I know some of y'all don't do this, but
You mean white people, or what do you mean by y'all?
some people don't do it for real. I'm white, black, green, yellow, blue, whatever. The motherfuckers don't do this. You know, you can add sugar, like a half a cup of sugar into your macaroni and cheese, bro. Nobody really does that. Do y'all ever see anybody do that?
No.
Nope.
A half a cup of sugar makes a difference, bro.
Really?
Like a texture or the taste?
The taste is like, you know how you taste macaroni and cheese before, and
right.
When you taste it, it's not sweet, but this has like a little sweetness. Not like you can tell it. You can tell it's sweet, but it's not like overpowered sweet. So it's like I'm trying to think of something that's like sweet, but it's not as sweet. But it's some good ass, man. Whew.
Well, I'll tell you,
thinking about it.
That kind of sounds like, being an Italian American, if you want to count, since I'm third generation. When people make their sauce, there's a school of people that will put brown sugar in it.
Yep.
They'll put sugar in the sauce to kind of balance out all the acid from the tomatoes. So it's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, it's like a personal preference, but some people just drop an extra onion in there because the onions they'll caramelize, they'll be sweet too. But I know some people that will put the sugar in there, and that's not my favorite, but it definitely does. It changes it up.
Yep.
I was gonna say, are you giving out the Cicchetto family recipe for sauce? You gotta be careful there.
Dare I say I make mine better?
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I was raised with my grandfather, so they're living like post-depression era, so that, they're buying like the tomato paste and everything because it was cheaper, but yeah, he would make it fresh though, but he'd add some stuff. But I do it all. Like when I make my sauce, I'll go to like an organic supermarket and I'll buy everything and I'll throw it in a Ninja and I'll just blend that motherfucker up, and then I boil it down, steam off everything, and then it's ready to go, baby.
Do you use mushrooms in your sauce?
I like to, but if I'm cooking for somebody and they don't like mushrooms or they're allergic or something, I won't. But I like to use them. Good. I like the flavor.
Yeah, because I like the same thing. Mushrooms and green peppers and yellow peppers.
Yeah, I like to throw in like my little secret is I'll throw in a couple chili peppers. So it's got a little bit of heat, a little heat to it.
Yeah.
Nothing overwhelming, but you're just like, oh, what's up? But that's all you're getting. I can send you some, but you can eat it with your finger, bro. That shit's so good, you just scoop it right out. But,
so what about you, Nick? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh man, so my sister lives down here, and my father lives down here in Florida. Most of my family is up where John is, a couple blocks away, actually. Mm-hmm. And our family's always kind of been like all over the place, so we don't really. It's not like I haven't spent many Thanksgivings with my sister, and this is probably the third out of 37, maybe. And luckily my dad's here too, so we went over to their house. But she is how do I I'll just put it on blast. She's a sponsor. She's an NA, and so basically I walked in the house and there's like 15 kids there, or kids like 18 to 25-year-olds that are in the program, had nowhere else to go. And my sister just fed everybody. And I was like,
that's nice.
Like, what the? Because, I was expecting pick up my dad. It's her and her husband. And she's like, I got like 2 people here. Okay, cool. And I walk in and it's like wall to wall people. I'm like, yeah, I'm like wearing gym shorts. Like, I didn't know there was like a party going. I didn't know there was a dress code. But it actually turned out to be really cool, because a lot of the people that were there all brought like a different dish, almost like a potluck. So you had someone who had the mac and cheese. One of the Latina girls made her mac and cheese fire.
She put tomatoes in it.
In the mac and cheese? I don't think so, but she did something that made the top of it crispy, and it was like
some breadcrumbs. That's all.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking with my tongue. I wasn't like looking at what was in it. But it was almost like a casserole. It was so thick, like you cut it like a ziti almost. I mean, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, and then like the turkey came out good. Like everything came out really. I was like really surprised considering like everybody cooked different things. So, the fun part is that I'm the only one there that was drinking because no one else drinks. So that was a good time because I like to. So my sister and I were like holding court. You know, like she's like trying to make fun of me, but I get in the zone, and I was lighting it up. It was pretty fun. Yeah, we had a good time.
It's one of those. It's like, do you really want to go down this path with me?
Like, don't set me up. Don't set me up. He's trying to embarrass, like in a fun way, like trying to embarrass me, like, oh, like remember when our mom did this, or remember when you did this, and I'm like, all right, you're putting me in front of a crowd of 15 people. I'm just gonna go with it, and you know,
showtime.
Yeah, showtime. Put me on the spot. So actually, that was a lot of fun too, because it was nice. I was like cracking jokes and stuff, and have like a little crowd like that. I'm not used to it, so it was kind of cool in that sense. And then, of course, my dad just sat outside all day. He just sat out with my brother-in-law, and they just sat out there chilling. So I think everyone had a pretty good time.
That's good, man.
Not the worst Thanksgiving I've ever had. So, but there was something else that went on that weekend.
What was that?
Hundreds of thousands of people lost money on a sparring match because
man, get the fuck out of here.
because
they got over 1 million buys.
They got 1 million buys for Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. And people were pissed because it came out a draw and they all lost their money.
I want to say one thing real quick before we discuss this.
Okay.
It was a fucking sparring match, bro.
Yep.
What people don't understand about rules of sparring. It's an exhibition match, but sparring.
Right.
What people don't understand. if one of them got cut, it would have been over.
Yeah, that was in the contract.
Yes. If anybody got cut, it would have been over. Anybody got knocked down, it would have been over. Yep. Even if he got back up, he wouldn't have been knocked down. It would have been over.
And it's just for those two.
Win. So I'm not understanding why even put money on there, and you don't know the rules of exhibition, man.
Right, and because a lot of people thought, you know, with the shape that Tyson was in and everything, that it was actually going to be a real fight, and that he has a chance to come and be like a number one contender. It's like it's just not what it is. What it was, and it was, you know,
yeah. I
just wasn't going to pay the money because that's exactly, you know, the same amount as what like the top fighters are getting right pay-per-view. So and then people were mad that it was a draw and they both got belts.
Okay, but they shouldn't have been mad. But the crazy thing, right? This is another thing. How?
Oh man!
Why do you think those old guys was really gonna go in there and brought it out? Y'all really thought that? I think people really thought that because Mike Tyson was selling that shit. He was selling it.
Oh yeah,
he was selling that shit. But another thing people don't understand: Mike Tyson is in a different headspace now, bro. He's not what he used to be.
No,
he's in a complete different headspace. And bro, I watched the whole match, and when Mike was in there fighting him, Roy hit him twice in the face, and then when the bell rung, he tapped him on the shoulder like, "Good job." Mike will never do that, bro.
That's because he owns a fucking weed farm now. He's just chill.
He's got that money.
He got that money. Mike don't care. Mike is not the ferocious person that he used to be, man. I'm telling you, he's enlightened somehow, bro. He's not that way anymore. And people just don't understand. He can still box. I give him. He can still box and throw hands, but he's not that monster like he used to be, man.
He's not a killer anymore, right?
Yeah. He's enlightened, man. He just knows himself, and he knows how to control. I think he knows how to control himself now.
I mean, he was
Right.
still throwing bombs, though. I mean, I would be surprised if Roy Jones didn't go to the doctor the next day and a couple bruised ribs. Like he was
Oh yeah,
hitting.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They were sparring, but he wasn't pulling his punches. You know what I mean?
He was sparring, but he won't. He did. If you ever notice, did you see Mike hit him in the face?
I mean, he tried to.
Did he hit him in the face?
Well, no, because
Did you hit
Right.
him? Did he hit him in the face? He didn't hit him in the face once. Roy Jones hit Mike Tyson. All right, so I can tell you this: Roy Jones hit him in the face twice, good 2 times in the face. Mike unloaded powerful punches on his body. Roy Jones did not hit him in the face anymore.
Actually, that was one of the major complaints that I heard someone or by heard I mean that I read, is that someone was saying like it wasn't the Roy Jones of old, because he was just like, the way he was throwing the punches, he wasn't even close. Like he wasn't hitting his shoulder like Mike Tyson's shoulder. He wasn't grazing any of his body. Like he was just way off. And it's like, no shit, because he's not really trying to hit him. Like he's not really trying to hurt him. And it makes a lot more sense when you mentioned it. You know, and
right,
he's
especially the fact that
you know,
like Roy Jones Jr. is a counter puncher. So
Yep.
and it's really hard in a sparring match, you know, if you want to call it that, or even an exhibition, if that guy's not really committing to doing it, then you know his shell style game is going to be off, you know. So it's like it's just going to look weird.
Yeah.
But
I mean
they made money, and I mean that's the thing. Like it's like even when you know people put up on social media, like they're like, you know, like a couple guys are saying like, oh, you know, a lot of fighters on my team is like on my feed today, and I was like, I don't think that's what everybody needs. Nobody's trying to disrespect them. It's more just, you know, the people that bought it kind of I thought was funny, you know, really expecting to see, you know, these guys that were great in our youth actually try to come out and be that same person, you know, and not understanding that the contract was already signed, and it's kind of, you know, almost, you know, you want to call it work, but you know.
Well, it kind of was actually, and John brought this up to me earlier, and Big T jump in on this too. He brought this up to me like last week, that the promoter was saying shit that was wildly opposite of what the California Boxing Commission was saying. So the Boxing Commission was coming out and saying it's, you know, 8 2-minute rounds. It's a sparring match. Like you were saying earlier, if anyone gets cut, it's over. If anyone falls down, it's over. You're not trying to knock anybody out. But then the promoter was pushing it as like this big champion versus champion, Rocky versus Apollo, like this whole big thing. And that's what sold all the tickets. Way to go. But it wasn't the reality of it. So like
that promoter was he nailed it, you know. Like Chael Sonnen was saying that on a podcast. He's like, you know, I got knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it was
it's not really his fault that people bought it.
But that's what a whole boxing match is, any exhibition or sparring or something. That's what they were trying to do. They trying to sell tickets, bro. Gonna lie. Everybody gonna lie. They're gonna lie just to sell tickets, bro. That's the big thing. They're gonna lie to sell tickets because they're trying to make that money. And like I was telling a couple of my friends here in Virginia, I don't know what y'all curfew is now about liquor. What time do you do when y'all stay at? What time do y'all curfew is about when they have to stop selling liquor?
Right now in New York, you're not allowed to go. You have to, all bars, restaurants have to close down at 10 o'clock, and you can still go and buy like liquor stores. Because when odd transition here onto that question though, they said when the shutdown originally started, they deemed liquor stores and like places like that essential workers. So like the liquor store, yeah. So you were allowed to, you know, and you can still go into stores and buy that stuff, you know, at generally all times right now. But yeah, like actual restaurants and bars have to be closed by 10 o'clock.
Now, on that note, that you just said, that the same thing here in Virginia, everything had to be closed down by 10. Can't sell liquor after 10. Think about it. The boxing match didn't start until a certain amount of time. It won't over at 10 o'clock.
Oh no, I think it was on until like at least 1 a.m.
Yep. So check this out. They did it well at the time, because I'm a person who think about money, how money wise, how everything is supposed to be, how everything is played out money wise. So certain people be like, well, shoot, I'm gonna go to the bar and go watch the fight. you go to the bar for a couple of minutes or whatever. They was like, well, we shutting down the bar. And you know how people want to drink and watch the fight.
Right.
So people like, fuck it, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go to the liquor store. Boom. There's liquor coming. There's more liquor going out. I'm going to the liquor store, and then I'm gonna go buy the fight at my house and drink and watch the fight in my house. So that was the whole thing was big money, bro. So anybody who be like, anybody who said, man, I spend money on this damn fight, you was gonna spend money when you go to the bar anyway.
That's right.
So either way, you're gonna lose out on money. So you had to buy the fight because at 10 o'clock there's no more serving liquor. So what you gonna do? You gonna sit there and drink water?
Drink water.
Nobody gonna sit there and drink no water and watch a fight.
Well, especially along the lines too. The people that kind of were upset that they thought they were watching a fight. It's like if you look at the fight right before that fight, it was Jake Paul, a YouTube star who actually is a good athlete and starting to get into boxing, against a retired point guard, Nate Robinson. It's like, how are you supposed to take the cards right?
It's WWF, bro. It's like this weird, like natural progression of where like the sweet science has lost like its fan base, but like the entertainment value, like I think I said it the other day, like the World Boxing Entertainment, like instead of World Wrestling Entertainment, like they had like more of a show to it. They had like the walk in with the music and all this stuff. They had like the pageantry of it. And they're exhibitions. So it's like, most of these guys don't even have to know how to fight. It's like celebrity death match, only just with boxing. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. It's like some of the biggest, because it was, billed as an exhibition, but it was the same price as what was, say, the last time Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder.
Yep.
The heavyweight, the current heavyweight champion against match. Literally, it was the same price, except you knew that was going to be a real fight, and these guys really kind of weren't. It was kind of like, we know it was an exhibition, but they still charged it. They Terrell was saying, still got that money. Just for those 8 2-minute rounds, Mike Tyson made over $10 million.
I'll tell you what, if they go the route of just like dudes are gonna train and then just challenge random people like Logan Paul challenged Conor McGregor, I'll watch it. Like, I'd like to see Logan Paul get knocked out, or it's kind of like last year when McGregor fought Floyd. It's like, well, he's not going to win, but
again, I bought, yeah, right. Like,
but he might. You never know.
It's that appeal of those guys,
So I mean, if they're gonna turn into like this thing where, like, I know Joe Rogan won't ever do it, but say like he decides he wants to fight somebody, I'm like, oh, Joe Rogan's gonna throw that kick at someone. I mean, I pay $50 to see Rogan spar somebody and like break his ribs.
And I transitioned there. How about originally, like in 2002, he was gonna fight Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Fight. Like, he signed a contract. And it's like, oh, okay, like, because I mean, Wesley Snipes is a martial artist, but it's like Rogan actually fought professional.
Rogan's like a gold medalist, right?
Yeah, he's on Taekwondo, and then he started fighting in Muay Thai, and he got kind of kicked in the head, and that's where he stopped doing it because he was like, okay, I got to adjust this, like, I don't really want to, brain trauma for the rest of my life. I can make money as a TV star and a comedian,
Well, it must be nice.
My fault. I was looking up online. I was trying to figure out the guy who fought before that. His name was Badu Jack, and he fought some other guy.
Badu Jack is a legitimate boxer. That's what people were so like. If you know the fight game, it was like, oh, that's a real fight, and that's a real boxer.
But see, the dude that he was fighting against, I knew Badu was gonna win. Because did you watch that one? Did you watch that one?
That one I didn't see. No,
bro, you had to watch that one. Badu was so calm and poised, and he was beating the shit out of that dude.
Like, you could just tell.
Bro, he wasn't even breaking a sweat. When you get a chance, please watch that. He won't break in a sweat. The other dude was retired military or something, and I kept looking at him, and he kept blinking and kept doing this tick. Then come to find out he had PTSD.
What?
Oh, jeez.
Like, why you letting this man fight that dude, man?
Yeah, how did that get sanctioned?
Bro, I don't know how the fuck that got.
They're just letting people just go out there and fight. It's like,
bro, Badu beat the shit out of him, bro.
Well, that's what they're saying on the last time there was when Jake Paul's brother Logan Paul fought.
Yeah.
He was like the main event going against KSI's, big YouTube guy, TikTok star from England. But on the undercard of that, yeah. And then on the undercard of that was Billy Joe Saunders, who's legitimately like the number 2 fighter in the world in his weight class. It was just so weird that they, people were like, but nobody watched that fight. Just like nobody really watched the Badu fight. They just saw, Jake Paul versus a retired point guard. And then, yeah, like, hey, Nick, I don't know if you watched that fight. He got cleaned. I mean, unconscious.
I saw someone stream the stream in the last fight, so I was like laying in bed and I just like, all right, I'll watch it.
Right.
And in like 480p, like it's 1990. And it was exactly what I expected it to be. Like it's a sparring match, man. I mean, at this point, if you can just challenge anybody, I want to fight Alfonso Ribeiro. I mean, I think calling
out Carlton, bro.
Yeah, man. He was dancing everything on the way to the ring.
It would sell. That's the thing. Like, and that's especially in boxing. Like, mixed martial arts is a little different, where like that's generally just the walkout, and they just come out, they walk. I mean, some of them are spectacles, like when Conor fights and stuff like that. But in boxing, like it literally if you like say for instance, like when Conor and Floyd fought, or the last time Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fought, it's like, dude, it took them 40 minutes to walk to the ring.
Because then you be tired as fuck when you get there.
Well, that's what Deontay said. He said that he had this crazy costume. If you Google that, like the eyes lit up, but it was like a 60-pound costume. So he walked to the ring, and he's like, by the time I got to the ring, he's like, my legs were gone.
That's just a bonehead move. Even I've seen Creed, and Rocky says, "No sex tonight. You got to keep your legs, bro." And you're gonna sit here and wear a 60-pound suit of armor like your fucking Knight of the Round Table, and you go.
And then Fury came out. Yeah, he came out like a king costume. He calls himself the Gypsy King, and he got carried out on a throne, dressed as like a king. Yeah, and again, it took him like a solid 40 minutes to get to the ring.
That's some big dick energy, bro. Carry me to the ring.
Yeah. But again, it's in the boxing, it's more that spectacle because people just waited. Because again, they literally just waited for that fight, almost like essentially just happened the other night. Like they're just waiting for that one main event, and you're paying like $70, $80 for it.
Yeah. What was it?
But those guys actually fought.
What was the guy? It was who was the commentators? I know Sugar Ray Leonard was one of the commentators. Snoop was one of the commentators.
Yeah. People are loving Snoop. I've seen reviews for that.
Is fucking hilarious, yo.
Yeah.
I think
people are going nuts. So like, I want him to commentate all the time.
I think he should comment. They should buy any Triller fight, man. I think any Triller fight. I think Snoop should have a contract to commentate that whole shit. That shit was funny, man. Because
he's on, he commentates mixed martial arts too on ESPN. The Dana White, he was commentating for a while on it's called Dana White Contender. So the up and coming guys, and he's just hilarious.
Snoop said when old boy got knocked out, he was like, "Oh Lord."
That's a whole that fight right there. Like, you just get hit like that and knocked out, like that could change Nate Robinson's life. It's like people are saying on one hand he had the balls to walk to the ring. Yeah. When you get your lights put out like that could change it indefinitely. It's like, I don't understand.
I just hope he don't go crazy and be like, "You want to fight again, man? Fuck that shit, bro. Don't do that shit no more. Stick to what you know."
That's exactly it.
Stick to what you know.
Well, it's like they were talking about again when Jake Paul called out, Conor, and people are like, would Conor do that? It's like, well, yeah, because he'll get paid $100 million like he did with Floyd.
Exactly.
So it's all about that money.
I don't know, man. Sounds crazy. Like, imagine getting knocked out by a guy. Like, I'd have to move. I'd have to go out of state. I have to go somewhere else. Change my name.
Because then that's essentially why they did that exhibition and that contract, though. Because it's like, imagine if Mike Tyson did land on Roy Jones Jr. when he was, if he snapped that, that hook on the left and came with an uppercut, it's like, man, that could change Roy Jr.'s life,
Yeah.
I mean, he's fucking 54. Like, you don't need to be getting hit by Mike Tyson at his weight that he was at in the 80s.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
No. I mean, Mike Tyson's old, but I mean, how much power do you think he lost? If it's 10%, it's still a fucking brick hitting you in the face. Like, it's not.
Well, God, maybe that's why it's the appeal of heavyweight boxing, is because generally with those guys, the power is the last to go. So if it's a real fight, you can always just get clipped by one of them big dudes and just it's over.
But
Forget about it.
I'm proud of Mike though. I'm proud of Mike because he did go the distance, bro. Because Mike don't usually go the distance with fights.
Oh, and he shook it off. Like he could have won another 10 2-minute rounds. It looked like.
And that's what I said.
He wasn't even out of breath. He's just like, cool, we're done.
Right.
All right.
Because even though it was a work, like we talked about, we think it's a work or whatever you really want to call it. I mean, they still had to get in there and move around. Like that's to keep active that whole time is tough. Like, just like people talk about, say, professional wrestlers. It's like, dude, they do a match, so if you want to call it, imagine doing like a 20-minute wrestling match, that's tough.
I'll be honest with you. I get out of breath on the phone. If I'm talking to a client and it's like a more than a 5-minute conversation, I gotta like explain it's this and the contract says this and it's this, and I'm like, after fucking 45 seconds, I'm like, and then, like, I couldn't imagine doing 8 2-minute rounds, bro. Like, try to jump rope for 30 seconds. I dare anyone on the internet to do it. You can't. It's like that's like and the episode we had a couple weeks ago when my brother was on, who did the Macho Man and stuff, he wrestles professionally.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, they always bust his balls, like, oh, it's not a real sport. And I always say to anyone that says that, I'm like, he works out 2 hours a day.
Right.
Oh, well, before COVID, at least he does now too. But before COVID, he would work out 2 hours a day lifting. And then on Friday and Saturday and Sundays, he'd go and he'd wrestle for 15, 20 minutes, half hour in the ring. And he's like 250 pounds doing backflips. Like, if you're going to tell me that's fake, then get in the ring with him. Let him body
That's
slam.
the weirdest part, is where people call it fake. It's like, well, no, it's a decide upon ending, but it's there's nothing fake about that. Like,
he's not
getting athleticism.
Most of the people who say shit like that, they be like, oh, it's fake. The other ones who sitting at home ain't doing shit. And it's just, and like a lot of people those trolls that be online,
yeah,
sit at home all day and they just critique everybody. Don't know nothing. Don't really know nothing about the sport or whatever. And then just because you read about it, don't mean you lived it.
Yeah, you goddamn right.
So people don't understand it, man. Once you step in them shoes of those people who play that, who do that sport or anything, you don't have the right. Just like I'm gonna give you a prime example. Just like Skip Bayless and what was his name?
Right now it's Shannon Sharp.
Not Shannon Sharp. It was
Before that was Stephen A.
No, it was somebody else. I keep forgetting his name, man. He was part of the Fab Five.
Oh, Jalen Rose.
Rose. So Jalen Rose made Skip Bayless real mad because
that was awesome.
Bro, you remember that? You remember that? That shit was lovely. That shit was lovely. Skip Bayless never played a fucking a professional basketball game in his life. And he said, "What makes?"
No, he never played in college.
Ever. He said, "What makes you think you can talk about somebody to play this game and you never been in a higher level of playing ball ever?" And that shit was hilarious. Skip couldn't say shit.
Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Bro, he gave him. It's crazy. He even gave Skip his point average.
Oh yeah. Nick, he did real good in this one, if you recall. He went up he's like, these were like your freshman basketball stats, bro, and like you never went on from there.
Oh, dude, that's like, I love that. That's something I would.
And it's wonderful. Somebody that can, that's why I say a lot of those people don't know a lot of shit about the sports they talk about, because they read about the sports and they know knowledge about the sports, but never got into the ring or onto a field about this with the sport. So it's hilarious to me, man.
Oh, when that stuff happens, it's great because, like, again, like, so Stephen A, he's on First Take, with Max Kellerman, and he talks about this. And he has opinions about boxing. He has opinions about this. It's like, well, Stephen A played basketball in college, but he's talking about boxing and mixed martial arts and everything like that. Unbeknownst, I don't even know if Stephen A knew it. Like, Max Kellerman is a Golden Gloves boxer from New York City. Like, he's legit. Like, he knows his stuff. And that's when it's like, okay, that's where that level's different, Yeah. And then Stephen A brought up Max's rap career. So
and
if anybody remembers that.
I remember it. I seen bro.
Max and Sam.
Hey, Max has skills though.
He's good. Man. He even rapped about it. And just don't like the champ from Panama. So you want to make fun of him? It's like he was signed to a deal,
But yeah, I just love it when they people prove people wrong, man. When they prove those guys wrong, and they look stupid in the face. That Jalen Rose and that Skip Bayless thing. That was like just wonderful just to see Skip not say much.
Well, right, I think it's important. Bro. I think it's important for athletes and people who are actually in the biz when they put these commentators in their place, because it's like the commentators are kind of like, yeah, you're an expert, you know all the numbers, you know all the bullshit, but there's a huge aspect of actually being there that you don't really understand. So when I love it when people check it. I like when Rogan does it. Rogan checks these dudes that say that they could win in a fight, and he's like, but could you though? And in that particular situation is like, I love it, dude. I love that Jalen Rose did that, and he pulled up his fucking high school stats. That's like such a ass move. That's what I would do.
And that's the thing. Oh yeah, like Jalen again. I mean, he's as legit as they come. 3 years in Michigan on the Fab Five. And then like a 12-year professional career. It's like, how can you criticize anybody like that did that?
Back when I was into sports, when we were kids, I remember chasing Jalen Rose rookie cards. Like that was like something we were looking for because he was amazing. Yep. I remember that, man. I love that, dude. And that Skip dude, man, I don't watch a ton of Sports Center or whatever he's on, but he's always like, I know what I'm talking about and you don't. And like half the time you get someone like, I mean, who did he used to go up against? Like Boomer Esiason or like these other guys. And it's like, but you don't, dude. You've never been under like pressure from the Steelers defense.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, especially on like, again, it's if you want to compare it almost like to what we watched the other night. It's like, what people bought and watched. Like people watch that, show every day, and they get millions of viewers. Like Stephen A, just signed like a $10 million per year deal as the highest paid guy at ESPN. And it's like, have obviously a production meeting beforehand. Have this kind of stuff where, it's like, you're going to take this aspect, you're this point, and I'm going to take this point, and we make it look like two talking heads. And, then when a real athlete's on there and it's like, well, no, dude, you don't get to say that to me, So like you said, Nick, it's awesome when they do that. Like the athletes.
Oh, I love it. I love it when Bill Burr was on that one show with that, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about? When a guy's like, you're a Boston guy. And he's like,
I know exactly what you're talking about. He Tommy Lynn on there. Is that the girl?
Yeah. Kind of. There was a girl on there, but he sits up on a desk.
Yeah,
Colin Cowherd.
Colin Cowherd. And he starts going in on Bill Burr, and Bill's like, dude, and he starts going down this whole list of like what the Colts were doing when the Patriots beat him a couple years, and he's like,
Jim Irsay was bringing up all the stuff, right? Yeah, it's like you got to know.
You bring up all the shit, but you don't fucking know, man. Like you're, like I was there, like I was with, blah blah blah, and it's whatever. Johnny does it a lot too, because John's been training the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for what, 12 years now.
Yeah,
I'm calling you out.
12 years.
So like when we go out. When I go home and stuff, we go out and we're watching a fight or something. People are always like, Sunday driving, they're like, oh, this guy, he should be able to do it. I can beat this guy. And John's just like,
well, it's like, again, when you get your ass kicked, all the time when we could train. Right now, obviously COVID, we can't, but like, it's like these guys are like, oh man, it's like you can tell, like, dude, you've never done anything in your life, and then you're talking shit about like a professional athlete and stuff like that. It's like, no, that guy with those gnarled ears is gonna throw the baby, man. Like, it's like, you got to be careful, and that's where some people get so jacked up on it. It's like, no, dude, it's like that little guy right there beats the shit out of me. So it's like, like, it's funny. There's levels to the game, and you always got to know, like, okay, just you have an opinion, but it's like, again, if you've never actually done it, then what do you really know?
Yeah.
So Big T, do you deal a lot with that? With like people breaking down basketball, since you did it for years and years at a high level, or?
Well, most people don't talk. A lot of my friends, they don't really talk a lot about basketball to me because this is another reason why I'm not a coach, bro. I'm too emotional about this shit, bro. I'm too emotional, and I think I get too emotional about basketball. I've been doing pretty good calming down, but I get too emotional about it. So my friends don't really talk to me about it. One of my friends always asks me, "Why don't you just go be a coach again, man?" I said, I can't do that shit, bro. I cannot do that shit because everybody, like, now, so many kids, right? I'm fuck it. So many kids are so goddamn gone. So many privileged fucking kids, man. It's getting on my fucking nerves, man. I remember days, bro, on the blacktop playing against older people that will push me down and knock me off my fucking feet. And like, yo, get your ass up and play the game. What you crying for? Man, you bleeding? Oh, man, suck that shit up. Get back on this court. Bro, if I do that shit, like, I swear, bro, my cousin, I ain't gonna put on his name out, it's nothing, but my cousin, he trains kids. And I remember one day I was watching this little boy, he kept missing a layup. And then he was like, I'm sick of this. I'm tired. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm looking at this motherfucker. I'm like, yo. If you don't get your fucking ass over there and fucking make that layup, bro. And then I know that a lot of parents will be like, you don't talk to my kid like that, blah, blah, blah. Oh. And I said that's why I said I can't do that shit no more. And like I said, I'm emotional about basketball, bro. Like if you like you get emotional about jujitsu, right?
Yes.
Like when you see somebody, like, come on, man, I know you can do better than that. What the fuck you doing? You know what I'm saying? You get emotional.
Yeah, because you care about it, right?
Yeah, bro. Yes. And then you nowadays you can't be as emotional about something you love because people will think you're some type of way. They'll be like, oh, here you go. He's toxic.
Oh, fuck me.
You know what I'm saying? You get toxic. You get the toxic masculinity out you. They be like, oh, that's toxic. I get so emotional about balling, man. Like I said, I can't. It's just in me, bro. It's just in me.
I'll tell you what. I actually had I never really played basketball. But when I was a kid, I don't know, what was it, like 6 years, John? I did Taekwondo, and I was telling who was I telling? The girl I was seeing, she's a yoga instructor, and so I was like, all right, I'll try your class. And she's doing this, like, we're stretching out, we're doing all this stuff, and she's like, hey, you're kind of flexible. I'm like, well, for not a long time, but I used to do this. And I was sitting in a butterfly pose. I don't know if you know what that is, but you sit on your ass and you put your feet together like this, and then your knees, you try to put them to the ground, right? So I'm just like kind of doing this, and she's like, okay. And I was like, well, you want to like stand on my knees or something? And she's like, what? I was like, like, get behind me and put your feet on my knees and push them to the ground. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm going to rip your groin. I'm like, no, but well, that's how I learned how to do it. Like she's like, what do you mean? I was like, yo, well, like the master would walk around the class and he'd put his hands on your shoulders and then he would step on both of your fucking knees and push them to the ground. And you just had to deal with it. She's like, that's like child abuse. I'm like, well, I was able to do a split for 8 years because he did that shit. So like, do they not do that now? Like, yeah, it wasn't pleasant having a grown.
That sounds unpleasant.
Having a grown Korean, like North or South Korean man who's like a fifth dan in Taekwondo stand on your legs and push them to the ground, so you're fucking die. But hey, I was able to kick. I could kick straight up. Like it worked. Like, yeah, right. We don't do that anymore. I'm like, okay. So, all right. Well, I guess I'll just do it the old-fashioned way, and it'll take me 10 years to stretch.
But ain't that crazy, man?
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
They cannot do that now. I'm sure that they're not even allowed to touch the students. Like,
oh no.
Like push, help them stretch or anything. Like, oh yeah, we
can do that.
Yeah. Like, that's
oh man, bro. But it's like for real. If you like in karate, in jiu-jitsu, and in basketball, if you see a person and you know they're talented and they can do it, that makes you even more angrier. Like you get so emotional, like, yo, bro, what the fuck is you doing? I know you can do this. And then when people just give up, and you be like, come on, man. I know you can do it. I know if you see somebody who got some talent and just don't want to just like give up. And that makes me mad and emotional because I know you're playing around what I love for what I love to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm sure like Terrell, for you to like play in college and whatnot and stuff like that, you had to put the work in, like you said. It wasn't like, everybody got a participation trophy, It's like
That's another thing, man. But what the fuck is a participation trophy, bro?
Right.
What the fuck is that?
Feel like we're back in T-ball here.
Hey, thanks for coming to our event. Here's a trophy. Your parents paid $300 for the program for a $20 trophy. Just
right. You made that. You paid that monthly fee every week, right, or every month there. Well, it's like when they gave James Harris, the former linebacker for the Steelers, his kids were in youth football, and like they gave him participation trophies at the end of the year, and he took them away and like threw them out. He's like, no, you got to win something. You're not just going to get this trophy.
Exactly.
I remember reading that. Yeah,
but that's true though.
Right. Because now if they kept that mindset of, oh, I just got to do this and I'll just get this trophy, and the guy next to me gets a trophy, it's like, well, what if little Barry next to you is actually really talented and you're getting the same trophies? It's like, how's that work?
Exactly, bro. And that's why most of these kids are fucked up because of shit like that, bro.
Yeah.
I showed up, so I should get a trophy.
Right. It's like, because when people say like yourself, who took that, took it real serious, and got to, a college level and stuff like that, that's big. And it's like, again, you're like messing with something you love, essentially, it's like, you put the work in to get there to become talented, it's like, and not everybody gets recruited to play in college or stuff like that at any division level, so it's like, that's where it's important of like, if they all got trophies in the beginning, it's like, well, why wasn't I recruited? Like you got two guys, and the one guy's like, well, why isn't he getting recruited and I'm not? It's like, because he's fucking talented and works, like.
Well, I think it's a sliding scale. So if you give everyone participation trophies, then the people that are getting recruited and stuff, and everyone that's just getting the trophies is like, why didn't I get recruited? But now all of a sudden, the people that are good are going to get better, maybe get better scholarships, maybe get this, that, or the next thing. And so it's gonna shift. There'll be something that compensates for that. But yeah, 100%. I think when you're a kid, I think when you're like, 12 or under, if you're on a team, on a T-ball team or whatever, on a Pee-wee team, and you go through a whole tournament, like, yeah, you should get a trophy for being
wrong.
You should, man. I think you need to.
bro.
You know how detrimental it is to a little, like I'm saying for personal experience, to not to do all that work and then not get like a little trophy where everybody else did. You like feel like such a loser. It's really bad for your confidence. That being said,
Yeah,
when
but what if you lost though?
you get to a certain level, I remember in like Pee Wee basketball, we used to get, if there was a tournament, if you did a tournament, not like a season, but if there was like a weekend tournament,
Okay.
you know, everyone would get like you were in this tournament, but first place and second place would get bigger ones or whatever. And like when you're fucking 9 years old, like it's a big deal. Like at least it was for me. I get it when like when you're getting into high school and stuff, then yeah, like you gotta perform. You're not just a participant. Like you have to show up. And definitely not in college. But
I think
I'm just
that's
saying, like,
kind of like, well, Terrell's going down that road of, that's the thing. When you get to, you know, the high school into college and stuff like that, and again, you're being recruited, you know, in any sport essentially, and it's like, it's like he said, almost like the toxic masculinity thing. For instance, okay, like what would be your opinion on the Vanderbilt kicker? You know, she's the first female. Here's because there's two sides to it. She was the first female ever to, you know, walk onto the football field and actually kicked off. Now, again, did they do it as a promotional stunt because she just did a little squib kick? And they're like, all right, I don't know if you listen to Burr's podcast yet this week, Nick, but he's like, you know, what happens if she kicked it off and the return guy got the ball and just ran her over? You know, so is that a participation trophy? Like, that's the thing. It's like, why can everybody play? It's like, well, no. In that instance, it's like, and he broke it and he's running down the field and he's like, all right, you know, then it's going to be like, well, why did he run her over and stiff arm this? It's like, well, because he would have done that to any other player if it wasn't a female. So it gets, you know, a dicey kind of mindset there, you know?
Well, that's different from what we're talking about. What I'm talking about is like, if you're a little kid in like grade school, then I don't think participation trophies are that big of a deal. And I think they actually help build confidence, and confidence helps build a lot of emotional intelligence and stuff like that. When you're 13 and you're going into high school, now you got to deal with shit. Like if you don't make the fucking team, you don't make the team. But if you're in fifth grade, you know, give the kids a trophy, give them a lollipop, like when you go to the dentist or whatever. Like it is what it is. Now, that being said, that doesn't have to go across the board. No. You can have like, we'll take basketball. I remember basketball used to have like AA or whatever it was, and you go to summer camp and it was a higher level thing. That's a whole different thing. If you AAU, if you got kids that are actually really talented and they're going to play like competitive, like real competitive, then yes, no trophies. Like if you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. But when it comes, that's just my opinion. I think if little kids, you need to help them with their self-esteem, or else they turn into fucking assholes like me. And then, but if you're in competitively, like if a lot of kids take Taekwondo, right? Everyone knows it's a pay for play. You go 3 years, you pay the $300 a month, you get a black belt. It is what it is. But once they get to like 12, 13 and they join the adult class, is what I did. They drop my belt. They're like, well, you're not a brown belt anymore. Now you're a red belt. Now you got to spar these fucking 35-year-old dudes, and I know you're only 14 and 115
good
pounds.
Luck, right?
Good luck. Like if you want to win the tournament, like this is the weight class. Like, and it was like, well, the reality check, which sucks, but also you need it. Like that's my opinion, and you can sway me, but I'm pretty solid on it. So what's
okay? So this I want to say this about your opinion. So check this out.
Oh, don't say it's trash, man. That'll hurt.
No, I ain't gonna say it's trash. I'm just telling you this from experience.
Oh.
So before I played basketball, I wanted to play soccer, right? So I played soccer. I sucked. Very bad. Very bad. So, the little team I played for, we won a little tournament and stuff, and then you know how they had a little banquets, and at the end of the season or something, and they give you like trophies and stuff,
right?
Like plaques and shit.
Yeah. So everybody gets a trophy. That came, you know, so everybody gets a trophy. But like, say for instance, who scored the most goals this year? who had the best defense and stuff like that. And it was only certain people who got trophies. Not all the kids. Only trophy we got was because we got we won some type of tournament or whatever. But I know that I wasn't good. I wasn't good at all. I was pure shit. But I was determined to be better, even though I didn't get no trophies. I was like, Dad, he got a goalie. He got all those trophies for stopping goals. This guy's got trophies for being a goal. You know what I'm saying? Getting all the goals and stuff. And I was like, dang, man, I had to do something else. So my coach, when I was a little kid, he made me be a goalie, right? Only I had to do was stop the ball from coming to the goal. I got better at that because I wanted to be better at something, bro. Even though my self-esteem won't like fucked up or nothing. I was kind of hurt because I saw everybody else getting these trophies. I was like, dang, I know I can do this. I can do this. Then basketball came around. And then when it was something I was good at. But I still feel that even though you participated in the sport or something, you shouldn't get a participation trophy or something like that. You should get like a certificate saying, oh, you were a part of this team. Great job.
Congratulations, you were here.
No, you shouldn't get no trophy. Because and when you go to tournaments, you don't get no trophy and no tournament if you ain't first or second, third. If you ain't first, second, or third place, you don't get nothing. You get a T-shirt and go home.
Right, there you go.
You know what I'm saying? You get a T-shirt and go home.
Yeah, you might be right. I just remember we came from like a real small school, like a real small city. So like whenever they had something, it was more of a, hey, you guys did this, so here's a thing. But no, I mean I understand what you're saying. I mean, not everyone has that killer instinct, though. You know what I mean? So I think there's a certain age where you can stop doing that, but I think until a certain age, you should.
So Nick, are you saying that like again, like my nieces play sports and stuff like that, and two of them they're very different. You know, one of them hates losing, and basketball hates losing. Like literally cries if she loses. The other one's kind of, she's a year younger, and she's just out there for fun. So is that what you're saying, Nick? Like kind of that aspect of it?
Yeah, I think like you should take the time when kids are under. I don't know. We'll throw a arbitrary age out there, say 10 years old, and then the coach can figure out who under the age of 10 is like really wants to do this shit and like who's really interested in it, who's good at it. Who's like your older niece that's competitive, and they can move them into a different like the different AAU or whatever it is, like a different competitive league. But then like when they're kids, man. Let them fucking run around and kick the soccer ball. Like why do you gotta make them feel like shit? So I understand that aspect of it. I understand the other side of it too, where you're just making them feel like they can do anything they want and be successful. But that's where that's the argument, right? That's
like right. Like say for instance, like again, like say you're like trying to teach, like that's why I don't teach the kids class, say at jiu-jitsu, because it's like when they're like, they can start at like 4 or 5, but it's like they really can even comprehend what I'm trying to show them. So it's like, if you take soccer, for example, stuff like that, when they start so young like that, it's like, they're just going to kick the fucking ball. Like they don't understand, say like the plays, stuff like that. Like why, this person is a defender or a striker and stuff like that. Thing like, if you see like, Pop Warner football up here and you see like a 6 and 7-year-old game, it's like horrific. It's like, they're just literally running into each other. One kid runs to the sideline and just runs down. So it's like
horrific. They're 6 years old, dude. They could barely I'll tell you what, Liz. Okay, so here's another thing I'll just come up with.
I just like that. I mean, I do agree they should be having fun.
No, I think they should have fun too. I do. I believe they should have fun.
Can we talk about nepotism for a second? Because a lot of times, I'm just talking for personal experience.
No, good.
I was fast as a motherfucker when I was a kid. Like I remember playing Pop Warner, and I was what the hell was I? I don't even a linebacker, right?
Right.
And I would literally run around the defensive end, or I was a defensive end. I'd run around and I'd fucking hit the quarterback almost every time. And the coach was like, "Don't do that." I'm like 9 years old. I'm like mad proud of myself. I'm like, dude, I can hit this motherfucker every time.
Every
like,
play.
He's like, don't do that. Don't do that. And it's like, all right, so you're stunting me because you want your kid who's the linebacker to go through the play that you want him to go through and get the sack. You know what I mean? And I recognize that, and I saw it, and it bothered me. Same thing like when in basketball at a young age, the kids that would play were because their coaches were the dads. I remember being better than a couple of them, but the only reason I didn't get to play is because my dad wasn't the coach. So it's like
those are kids I hated, bro.
Well,
I'm sorry, bro, because I was up. My mindset was like, fuck him up the first time, bro. Destroy him. That's my mindset, bro.
I just remember it. I just remember like never like being the 11th man. You know what I mean? Like I think our grade school had 12 people that tried out for the basketball, or 13 people that tried out for the basketball team, and I was the one that got cut. You know, or something like that. Me and Parker.
Yeah,
me and Parker got cut.
It's got to fuck with you.
No, it's so stupid because like the people in small cities, like these guys think they're like, you guys are like actual coaches, but these guys are like peewee coaches, and they're just trying to get their kids into to live some glory days. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, man, you know, little like I was small, but I was quick as fuck. Like you could have used me in a lot of positions. I could, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I didn't get used because whatever reason. So that's why I stopped playing sports. I'm like, I'm gonna just do this and work on computers. You know what I mean? But in Taekwondo, I was HNIC, bro. I was fucking amazing. They would put me against two people at once because I was flexible and fast, and for my age, I was strong, even though I was a scrawny little fuck. So it's like, yeah, maybe you do have to find your lane.
Yeah.
But I think that if the people when I grew up would have, you know, give the kids a chance and then let them participate, it would have been a lot different. Ironically, I was cut from that basketball team, and our buddy who passed away, Parker, was cut from that basketball team. And the next year, when we got to high school, he started in varsity.
See,
because he was actually good, but they wouldn't let him. Yeah, but they wouldn't let him on the team in grade school because
for whatever reason, right?
Died. Like no one's his parents didn't work bingo at the school or some fucking stupid shit. You know what I mean? So it's like,
fucked up, bro.
This is a 100% true story. He started.
Yeah, that's from 8th grade to 9th grade. Yeah.
Yeah. He started varsity his freshman year. Couldn't make. We went to
a very small private Catholic school, and then in high school we went to public city school. Oh. So it was like, oh, they saw that guy. He's like, oh, this guy's like 6'5". Yeah, he's on the team. You know.
Yeah.
But nothing changed. He was still good, you know, in say 8th grade. But you know, from the team.
That's crazy. So, if he was good with that's and they didn't even want to pick him up, bro.
I'm telling you, there's 11 spots. There's 13 people that tried out. There was 26 people total in the two grades. Like, so I mean, you could have just put us on the team and just threw us in, like, you know what I mean? Like at the fourth quarter when we had a blowout or something, it would have been fine.
But see, okay. My mindset is like, if you're fast, your defense is gonna be pretty damn good because you can keep up with people.
I was quick, man. Ask Johnny.
So that's I would put you. I would keep you. You probably wouldn't. I don't know if you couldn't shoot the ball well or dribble well. I still would put you. I would still have you on the team because you're fast. And
it's like one of those things where they didn't give you a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm bitter about it. Who gives a shit?
So. Well, Nick, so for instance, like from I think where Terrell's going there is like, you know, these kids are, again, you want them to have fun, stuff like this. You can depending on how many, like, I don't know if you have to cut people, so to speak, in a role. Like Terrell was just saying there, like if you were fast, yeah, you'd be on defense. It's like for instance, like a crazy stat line that came up. It's like Dennis Rodman, was famous for just his defense and his rebounding. So there was a game, he had 0 points and 2 rebounds.
Yeah.
But he was a key part of the team.
Exactly.
I always like with basketball. Growing up, I was always like, well, I'm a really good passer. Like, I'm not tall enough to shoot, but if you give me the ball, I'll find the open person. Like, just that's all. Give it to me. And then when I was in college, like, I never
better coaching role, so to speak.
Right. But I never played like college ball or anything. Obviously, I went to an art school, but we played a lot of basketball because we had one court at the dorms and that was it. And every night we're playing basketball every night. And I was going like, I would stay out there every night and I would shoot 3-pointers until I hit 5 in a row. And if I hit 4 and it bricked, I'd keep going. And in months, I was like shooting like 7 for 10. I was like 9 for 10 with free throws, just like messing around. Never, and I hadn't played basketball in 4 years, but it's like, so it always bothered me, and maybe I think too much about it. But like, if they just said, hey, you're a kid, let's support the fact that you actually want to play. Who knows? I don't think I'd ever play like college ball. I could have played in high school probably or something, but not that I was ever that good. But I mean, I liked playing, like I enjoyed it. And same thing with football. This is why like now I don't like sports, because I was cut from every team when I was in like fucking 6th grade. And it's like, well, fuck you guys.
Bro, I got cut. I got cut my freshman year trying to be in high school ball. For real.
Yeah.
I got cut, man. I was upset, but my whole thing was, I'm going next year. I'm gonna come out this bitch and I'm gonna be way better than the motherfuckers are. Cause I knew it's crazy because I got cut my freshman year, but I knew everybody who made the team because I played with them at the YMCA.
Oh, okay.
And I know I was better than them. And that's how I always think now. I could see people do certain things. I said, if I know I can't do it, if I know that I'm not talented enough to do something, I'm going to study it. I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to try my best to be good at it. I might not be the best, but I'm going to try I'm going to try my best to be good at it.
Hell yeah.
But some people don't want to do that. They just, like I said, some people are just lazy.
Well, it was like you were saying there. So like you got cut your freshman year. Well, that's the famous story with Michael Jordan, right? Like he got cut his freshman year of high school, and that's actually one of the, in his own words, gave him the drive to actually work. He had talent, but actually work at the time. You're 13, 14 years old to become so good and get recruited to North Carolina and become the best basketball player ever. But again, that's why at his Hall of Fame speech, he brought his freshman coach to the Hall of Fame speech and basically said, that's a famous meme there. He's like, he's like, I bet you this, didn't you? But that he held on to that kind of that mindset the whole time, almost like Kobe. They call it the Mamba mentality. It's like, all right, you caught me. It's like, all right, but I'm gonna work twice as hard to come back. So it's like that kind of thing of where, like, so for instance, Charlie, you said you got cut, so it's like, all right, that actually pissed you off enough to be like, all right, motherfuckers, you're gonna see next year.
Mm-hmm.
So again, but it's like it's at that level though. Like you're saying, around that time, that's where kind of like it does get competitive, so to speak. And and obviously, just like in anything, I think you were saying you go along this line too, Nick. Of there's always kind of politics and that kind of bullshit too. Like you were saying, with coaches and whose parents are this, and why does this guy get this? Why does this girl get this? It's just, again, maybe no petition for age trophies, but again, like maybe you can find a role for the kids, at before it changes to that big competitive level,
Yeah, it's like I was telling Nick, I said if he was fast, I was like, right. I would try to fit him in certain places with his strengths and make him like a great player, man, or like a certain thing, like you said with Rodman. Rodman could not shoot worth shit, bro.
No.
He couldn't shoot.
But he's in the Hall of Fame.
But his layup game was pure shit. But that man can run up and down the court and get a fucking rebound.
Well, I
And
think
he'd sell
maybe
out for it too,
Yes.
the big difference is that you're actually a good coach. And
Well,
like
that's kind of
like
the mindset that
you're
he was kind of
kind of
going
like
right. Like you said, you would
you're
find
looking
a
at it
role.
like yeah, you're looking at it like you're a scout. Like you're looking at like, wait a minute, okay, so we got this is the team. This is the Bears or the Bears. What do they call it? What's that movie with Billy Bob Thornton?
Oh,
This is the team I got. I'm gonna
Bad
work
News
with
Bears.
it. Bad News Bears. That's it. I said Bears seem like an idiot. This is the team I got. Let's figure out what everyone's good at. If it's eating bacon or it's running
Right.
a
Like that's a good breakdown there. Like the aspect of Casey there. It's like, all right, he was the star player, but it's like, all right, well then the girl was the pitcher because she was a great pitcher in the movie, So it's kind of like that, the way that goes. Like actually, so if you break it down, now you've probably seen. What made me think of it was the Billy Bob Thornton thing. He said, like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Friday Night Lights, based on the book from the 1986 team. It's like, well, Booby, their star running back, blew his knee out, or ACL gone. Well, the guy behind him would have never got the chance to, become the star and, get recruited to college, and then went undefeated the next year, won, the Texas 5A title. It's like that guy got that role because Booby got hurt, but he was not playing the time at that time at all,
Damn. How did this show turn into a sports show?
I don't know. You brought it up.
I'm sorry, bro.
I know, but it's like I feel like I have like this like an everyman kind of view because I'm not that into it.
You all right, man?
Well, it always surprises me because I know how to play everything. I just don't do it. But hey, you know what? 11 here. Let's kind of like let's wrap it up. I think this is a good Tuesday night show on a Wednesday.
There you go. Just before Thursday.
Just before Thursday, Wednesday night show after Tuesday. So I don't know. I think let's get fucking hokey with it. It was just Thanksgiving. We got the holiday season coming up. Maybe I don't want to say what you're thankful for, but maybe that's what we should do. What do you think?
Let's go.
I'm throwing it out there. So who wants
you start off, Nick? You start off. You got the idea. Start off. Don't get mad. Start off. You got it.
I'm not really thankful for anything. I'm a arrogant, egotistical piece of shit. So like, I don't know. Okay. I'm thankful that even with COVID, that my business is coming back because for 6 months I had to get on unemployment for the first time in my life, and I was like a pretty successful in my field for the last couple of years, but I'm on commission. So my job is really like economy based. If the economy takes a dive, I lose out. So I was struggling for a long time, and it's coming back and fiercely to the point where I don't even have time to breathe, it seems like. And that's a good thing because I thrive when I'm under pressure. If you give me like free reign, I don't know what to do. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for you guys. Being able to just do this, throw it up on the internet, and if anyone listens who cares, I'm having a good time just talking to my friends. And it's a good like mental release, even if like I sound like an idiot half the time. It's okay. I still get my participation trophy with 1 or 2 views. And yeah, man, I mean, thankful to be alive. I almost died 2 weeks ago. I don't know if anybody knew that.
That's some serious staples, bro.
I told you guys. I mean, took the dog out, and his chain was wrapped around my leg, and he saw a cat and took off, and I split my head open. Spent the day in the ER, so I had a concussion. So I don't think as good as I used to, it's not saying much. But I got the all clear, so I'm okay. I got like a nice scar up here, but well, so I guess I'm thankful to be alive, I suppose. That's what I got.
Well, I'm thankful you're alive.
You guys can make it more cheerful if you want.
I can make it more. Okay. I just want to let everybody know I'm thankful for everyone who comes in and listen to our podcast. I appreciate all of y'all coming in, family and friends, and people who just want to listen to us. I appreciate you. Appreciate John and Nick for just being around just to do the show. I really do appreciate that. Just don't know how much I do appreciate it. I might sound like nonchalant about it and everything, but I do appreciate it from you. I really do. I really do. You just don't understand how, like, I've been for this couple of past weeks and weeks in a year, been pretty down and stuff. I didn't want to really do a lot of stuff, man. Been going through stuff emotionally. But I do appreciate you guys. I really do. I really do appreciate you. And that's what I'm thankful for. Appreciative and thankful.
That'll do. You get your trophy.
I want that fucking trophy.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. So I guess I got a participation trophy that I'm happy to be on the podcast. Again, yeah, like you guys I want to piggyback kind of what you guys said. Yeah, I love just getting on here. You know, the viewers that come on, you know, listen to us just kind of chop it up and say some stupid stuff at times, but you know, whatever. You know, it's a great discussion. Like Nick, you said, good release, you know, to just talk about whatever, you know, and, you know, come all of us from kind of different walks of life, you know, and actually just, you know, with different interests and whatnot, valuing other people's opinions, learning them. And I think that's how you learn and grow as a person. So that's really, yeah, really good time to get on here with you guys.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, then. Any final words of wisdom? Should I, or not? That was a lot of words of wisdom.
That was a good discussion.
Right on. So next week we're gonna jump on, hopefully on Tuesday, but we'll see.
It'll
See
be.
It's COVID. It's COVID times. Who knows, right?
Hey, as long as it goes up once a week, who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
It works out. All right, everybody. Well, happy Thanksgiving and go fuck yourselves.
Thank y'all. Thank everybody.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
New sound effects, by the way.
Wind that radio. Wind that radio. You were listening to Wind That Radio. You were listening to Wind That Radio. You were listening to Wind That Radio.